Hello everyone. Let's do some deck of panning. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with deck of panning, I'm about to introduce you to the best panning project of all time. It was created by Emily from Emily and Max. She was inspired by a booktuber named Books with Maddi, who came up with a way to gamify her to be read pile with a deck of cards, and we're just doing the same thing with our makeup. So there is a game board for this project. Each of the cards in the deck corresponds with a prompt on that game board. Emily switches that up for us every month like the rock star that she is. And so it is time for me to draw some new cards. We don't have a full refresh today, but we have almost a full refresh. So if you are new here, welcome. If you are not, you might notice that we are filming in a new space today. This is a little bit of an experiment. We're just gonna see how it goes. So first, let's talk about the products that I pulled last week and how I did on them. I actually don't remember what the prompts were for these products. I do write it down in a book, but the book is upstairs and I don't wanna go up and get it. So I'm just gonna have Editing Rebecca put the prompts up on the screen. The first thing that I have here is this beautiful palette from Alter Ego. I remember the prompt for this one. This was for the prompt dupe. Wishlist dupe, that's right. And a product that has been on my wish list for a very long time has been the Pat McGrath Divine Rose Mothership palette. I've thought about that one for a long time. It is definitely my kind of color story. I love Pat McGrath's formulas, but I've never pulled the trigger on it. I mean, motherships are super expensive. So instead, to kind of lessen the pain of that unrequited love, I picked up this little palette from Alter Ego. I don't believe that they are making it anymore. I think it has since been discontinued. I've had it for several years at this point. It's called the Luster Charm palette, and it is a pretty good dupe for Divine Rose. Obviously, I don't have the Divine Rose to compare this against, but I've watched other people swatch it online, and it does look like it is a pretty spot-on dupe as far as color goes. But it's very clear to me that these are not Pat McGrath formulas. They're not bad formulas. Alter Ego has some pretty decent formulas, and I think they did a good job at replicating some of the different textures that Pat has in her palettes. For instance, this special shade here, it kind of has a little bit of that dry, flaky quality that some of Pat's special shades have, and this duochrome here really worked out really well. So as far as dupes go, I actually think this is a pretty solid one. I wish that Alter Ego was still selling it because it is such a nice palette, and this color story really is my kind of color story. So I rolled this in No Pan Left Behind, and I used it 3 times and managed to hit each of these pans at least once. I really enjoyed this palette. However, it did make me realize how much I really do want that Divine Rose palette. Rather than satisfying my desire for the Divine Rose, this has kind of reinforced it a little bit, especially now, using it after having not picked it up for a while. I really would love to have this color story in Pat McGrath's delightful formulas. However, Pat McGrath has kind of retroactively changed the formula of her special shades in all of her Mothership palettes, so we no longer get those glorious kind of dry, sparkly special shades that a lot of Pat McGrath fans, including myself, really enjoy. So I actually think I might see if I can get a hold of the Divine Rose secondhand on Poshmark or Mercari, or see if there's an individual that I know that is willing to part with their Mothership so that I can get my hands on a palette that has those original special shades. Great palette though, and I enjoyed using it. I have another palette here. I don't remember what the prompt was. I'll have Editing Rebecca put it up here. This is my Profusion Smoky palette. This is such a good palette. It is absolutely trashed at this point. You can see how well used it is. I have 2 pans in here, and you guys just don't know how unusual it is for me to ever hit pan in my eyeshadows. I have so many eyeshadow palettes and I love switching it up, and so pans are very rare in my collection. I also rolled this in No Pan Left Behind, and I managed to hit every single shade after using it twice. So using this palette over this last month has made me realize one thing and remember another thing. It made me remember what a fantastic neutral palette this is. It made me realize that I need to declutter it. This palette needs to go. This is kind of an older palette in my collection. The formulas aren't performing as they did originally, and I have all of these shades elsewhere in my collection. This is not something that I need to continue to hang on to at its distinguished age. I think that it is time to retire this one from my collection. Next, we have an actual Pat McGrath palette. Again, I don't remember what the prompt was for this one. Editing Rebecca, help me out here. This is Pat's Divine Blush and Glow Cheek Palette in the shade Nude Venus. It's got 4 delightful matte blush shades and this absolutely gorgeous kind of champagne highlighter. Oh, such a nice highlighter. I do have to be careful with this highlighter because it can get real blingy real fast. I rolled this one in for 8 uses and I have used it 8 times. I really enjoy this palette. The funny thing is I generally don't reach for matte palettes, but because I have this highlight right here, I can mix this in with any one of these shades in order to get more of the glowy blush that I'm looking for. These are really lovely colors. I think I used these 2 the most over the last month. I feel like they work the best with the looks that I was going for, but they are all just gorgeous blushes. I love her blush formula. I feel like it blends itself, and I feel like Pat really walks the line between too pigmented and not pigmented enough. This formula for me is just right. It's right down the center, and I have really enjoyed using it over the last month. I have another face palette rolled into this project, and I have had this one rolled in since January. This is my NARS Narcissist palette. In January, I drew the prompt in it for the long haul, and for that you're supposed to roll in something to finish, to pan, or something with a high usage goal, something that's going to take you a while to finish. And I rolled in this NARS cheek palette for 50 uses. And this is what she looks like on the inside. This is such a useful palette. I like this one especially because every single thing in here works on me and I enjoy reaching for all of it. We've got NARS Laguna here with kind of a cooler, pinkier shade here that I like to mix into Laguna in order to just cool it off just a tad. And we've got a lovely matte highlight. I do love a matte highlight, and I don't feel like I see them very often anymore. So as of my last update, I had 16 uses to go on this palette, and I have used it 8 times since then. So I have 8 more uses left on this palette before I hit my 50 use goal. I have kind of been taking it slow with this palette because I really enjoy this palette, so I didn't mind having it rolled in for a longer period of time. And there have definitely been some other things that I wanted to play with. I have acquired a number of new blushes since the beginning of the year, and I haven't been wearing a ton of bronzer. So that 50 uses has really taken me some time, but with 8 uses left, I don't think it's going to be a problem to finish this one off by the next update. Then we have this one. Was this for pretty packaging, or was it represent another project? I don't remember. It'll be on the screen. But this is my MAC Timeless Taupe lipstick in the limited edition packaging. For me, this is the most gorgeous packaging that MAC has ever come out with. She is just, oh, so pretty. The shade inside is also very nice. That's what she looks like there. I feel like this borders on a little too warm for me, but with a cool liner, she looks lovely. So I have really been enjoying this one as well. I rolled this in for 7 uses and I have used it 7 times. So we've got almost a full refresh here, and I get to draw 4 new cards. So we've got my deck of Mandalorian cards here. I need to find the jokers. The jokers are associated with the prompt, "Are you joking?" For that prompt, you're supposed to roll in something you don't want to pan. So we all try to avoid pulling the joker, and fortunately we only need to have one of them in the deck. So this is a Mandalorian, Star Wars themed deck of cards. So I've got a little Jawa here and I got a little Tusken Raider here. We're gonna go with the Jawa. It's probably my favorite. He's so cute. And we're gonna stick that one back in the deck, and then we are going to shuffle. That should be enough. Let's find out how vengeful the cards are feeling today. So 4 cards. First one is the 5 of diamonds. We've got the 10 of spades. We've got the 7 of diamonds. And we have the 10 of clubs. Okay, we managed to avoid the joker for another month. Let's go ahead and look at the game board and see what prompts we got. Okay, so this is the game board this month. I drew the 5 of diamonds, which is the prompt precious. I have never gotten that prompt before. Something that's either never been touched or is very special to you. I don't know if I have anything in my collection that I haven't touched, other than, you know, like a couple of backups for staple products that I have. So I don't think that necessarily qualifies. I do have some products that are very special to me though. So, okay, the next one I drew was the 10 of spades, and that is for favorite category. Oh, that's hard. Favorite category ever? Favorite category right now? Category I have the most things in? I don't know, you guys. I'm gonna have to think about that one for a while. Okay, next, I pulled the 7 of diamonds. That is metallic, something that is metallic or is in metallic packaging. And then I pulled the 10 of clubs, which is newest, the newest product in my collection. Ooh, I like that one. I have recently acquired some things that I'm very excited about, so that one's gonna be fun. Okay, those are my prompts. I'm gonna go pick my products and I will be back in just a moment. Okay, you guys, I have my products and I am so hyped about these products. I am so excited. I usually am very pleased with the products that I pick for this project, but I am especially excited about these ones. Okay, so first I drew the 5 of diamonds. That corresponded with the prompt precious. So that is for something that is either untouched or is very special to you. And I don't have anything in my collection that's untouched, other than a few backups for some of my staple products. I don't really want to bust into those until I have finished the ones that I'm currently working on. So I am going with the definition of something that is very special to you, and for that I am rolling in the Minka palette. This is the original from Adapt Cosmetics. This is special to me for a couple of reasons. It is special to me because I kind of dreamed about this palette and considered buying it and went back and forth with myself on this until finally it was sold out, and that choice was out of my hands, and that was sad. So this became a palette, the one that got away, until Ruth Foley, who's here on YouTube and is just one of the most delightful humans. She is so fun to watch. She hasn't posted on YouTube for quite a while, and I miss her face, but I totally get it. I have disappeared from time to time as well, because life is life, and sometimes the hobbies you're involved in are for a specific season of your life, and you move on, and that's totally understandable. But she left me with a souvenir, and that is this Minka palette. She saw in a comment that I had mentioned this was the one that got away, and she sent it to me all the way from Ireland. And look at this gorgeous palette. Do you see these delicious metallic shades? These are serious. You cannot put these on your eyeballs unless you are ready to make a statement. I actually have a short of me using this. I will link it for you up here, but you can't go into this palette unless you're ready to go in full, because these shimmers do not play. Okay, so I'm gonna roll this in No Pan Left Behind, which is kind of a feat because that's a lot of shimmers to go through. It's a lot of shimmers. There are only 2 mattes in this palette, and those are these right here. So I might actually end up combining some of these shimmers with other shadows from other palettes, but we're gonna hit each one of these pans at least once over the next month, and I'm actually pretty excited about this. Next, I drew the 10 of spades, and that was associated with the prompt favorite category. And that was a tough one for me because I have a lot of favorite categories. Historically speaking, look, over the longest period of time, both foundation and eyeshadow have taken turns being my favorite categories. But I think the one that has been my favorite the most recently, I mean, the one that I have been kind of fixated on for the last few months, are lip liners. I have been on a little bit of a lip liner binge. I think this is going up before my lip liner declutter, but you will see, you will see how overboard I have gone in the lip liner category. I lost my mind a little bit. I have a lot of lip liners, and I have been really enjoying trying new ones and hunting for the best cool toned lip liners that I can find, and I'm going to roll in my favorite. Now this is a little bit of a cheat, okay? You tell me whether or not you think this is a cheat. I am going to roll in my NYX Moonwalk lip liner. So lip liners are not only my favorite category right now, but this is my favorite lip liner of all time, and it was also my favorite product in my 2025 favorites video. So this is just a favorite of favorites. It is maybe borderline cheating because I intended to use this every day for the next month anyway. I'm just gonna take credit for it now as part of the panning project. As usual, I'm gonna take my usage goal from the card that I drew. This is the 10 of spades. So this one's coming in for 10 uses. The next card I pulled was the 10 of clubs, and that corresponded with the prompt newest. So I need to roll in the newest product in my collection. That one was easy. This one actually, I just picked it up a couple days ago. This is a lip gloss from the brand Romand. This is a Korean brand, and they have some lovely products. This is one of the newer colors in their Glasting lip gloss, their Glasting color gloss line. It is in the shade 23 Cream Haze, and it is this really, really beautiful, just kind of milky, cool pink shade. That is it right there. Such a pretty lip gloss, and it is very comfortable. The only thing I think that could make me like it better is if it smelled like birthday cake, the way the Dose of Colors lip glosses do. I am that person. I am the reason companies keep putting fragrance in their products. For those of you who are sensitive to fragrance, I'm so sorry, but I do personally enjoy some fragrance in my products, especially when the smell of the actual ingredients that are in a product aren't that great. I once had a lip gloss that was not fragranced, but smelled very strongly of burning plastic. And that is not something that I want right under my nose, like pretty much ever. This one, however, smells like nothing, and it is really pretty and very, very comfortable. I picked it up kind of on a whim. I was ordering something off of Amazon for my 7-year-old's birthday, and I just chucked it in the basket. Did I need another lip gloss? No, absolutely not. But this is a nice one. So I'm going to be rolling this in for 10 uses. Next, I drew the 7 of diamonds, and that was associated with the prompt, let's see, metallic. It was associated with the prompt metallic. And so I am going to roll in another palette. This is the Danessa Myricks Groundwork Blooming Romance palette. I picked this up in April, and I have been just really going to, I mean, you can tell by the state of her, I have really been using her a lot. I have been going into this palette for just about everything. I have even been using it on my lips and my cheeks, and this is such a delicious palette to me. I spoke at more length about this in my April roundup, but I really not only enjoy this color story, but I enjoy the experience of using these formulas. I found what I feel like is the best way for me to use this palette myself, and there's a process of layering and building up of values and the mixing of tones that I find very artistic, very painterly. I am an artist. I'm an illustrator by trade. So art is something that I have always really, really loved. And somehow this feels so similar to the act of painting. I find that very unique in my collection. I am going to go ahead and roll this in No Pan Left Behind, and I'm going to count the powder and the cream as separate pans. So I want to go into every single powder shadow in here and every single cream shadow in here before the next update. And I'm going to have a lot of fun doing that. And that is it. Those are the 4 new products that I am going to be focusing on over the next month. I will be back at you in June to let you know how I did. Thank you so much for spending this time with me, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.